white square because we've hit the red button. It is recording, so all this jibber jabber will actually go on for someone that doesn't watch it live, but you will miss it live. Oh, look at that. We got a green light, so let's make it loud.
Get the word!
Well, good morning, everyone. If you're on the struggle bus like we've been, we just made all that noise at you, and that means it's Friday. It's been a week, and here we are, the end of it, watching Big Nerds. This is the Daily Nerd Out on the most interesting cars of the day on Cars and Bids, Bring a Trailer, P-Car Market, Hemmings, Rad ForSale, and whatever other auction site happens to pop up for automotive enthusiasts. They happen all the time. My name is John Polnik. We do this show live from the Las Vegas Strip every Monday through Friday, along with my partner, Michael Deeb, who's not on the Las Vegas Strip. Where is Michael Deeb? San Francisco. Look at that guy.
Foggy San Francisco. Oh, it's been dark here all week. I spent the weekend with you in Vegas where I got like a sunburn on my arm, and anyway, I come home and it's just wet and foggy, and I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I'm over it.
Yeah. Well, you guys have there's a big event there. You guys have the Breakfast Club rally tomorrow?
It's the Breakfast Club people, but it is the Air Cooled Affair 001. So this is for, it's basically for 911s. Let's not kid about it. It's for 911s, but they're inviting air cooleds to a place I think is called Wyland Motorsport. I should have made some notes, but they are having like the cars and coffee part of it is being hosted at their shop, and they are a Porsche repair facility in Sonoma. So I'm excited to meet the folks at Wyland Motorsport. And then their owner has curated the route. So it's his favorite back roads in and around the shop up in Sonoma. So that'll be a hoot. And I got Ruby all detailed and cleaned up yesterday, so she's looking fine.
That sounds like an awesome trip. Sounds like you're going to do some driving. We love driving. And in fact, I love driving so much, I made a television show called Porsche Road Trip. We drove all over the West Coast. So you can check out all 8 episodes available now on demand. It's kind of a sneak preview on Pluto TV. Just roll into the cars category on the left-hand column of the on-demand section. That show will be going live on Chassis TV later in May. May 28th is when it's the official premiere.
Talk into your remote. Go Pluto TV, and then when Pluto TV pops up, tell them Porsche Road Trip. Yeah. And then John Polnik's head will be 3 feet in diameter on your television.
Which is much like real life. Big.
Yes.
Big old head. Got a big old head.
Got a huge dome.
Yeah, it's got a lot of circumference. So watch Porsche Road Trip on Pluto TV this weekend. Something to binge watch for you guys. And then on top of that, once you're done binge watching, that'll basically take up your Saturday. Then come out and hang out with us Sunday morning in Las Vegas, in downtown Las Vegas, in the 18B. That is correct. Say it. Cars und Cafe. That's right, at the Good Wolf. Yeah, so we it's like a little micro Luft. We just get together, a bunch of old Porsches getting together in downtown Las Vegas in the Arts District, where there's murals and not a lot of room and everything, and it's just a good time.
It's the Halloween candy giveaway size of Lufticool. Just little tiny Luft.
Little mini Luft. Yeah,
little mini Luft. Yeah.
All right, so you're hanging out on at Bid Nerd. You're going, what the heck is this show? These guys are weird. I don't really like them very much, but supposedly they talk about cars that we do.
Stranger danger.
Yeah, so here's what we do. We nerd out on the most interesting cars that we pick of the day on all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. So you don't have to. You can sit there and go, there's so many cars on BAT. There's so many cars on Cars and Bids. There's all these cars. I don't have time to sift through them. I got a real job. I got work to do. I got stuff going on. But I want to. What's the most interesting car? Can we just narrow it down to the most interesting ones today? That's what we do. We bring you the most interesting cars of the day, and then we talk about them, and then we make predictions as to what we think they will sell for. What will the hammer bring when the hammer hits a sound block today? All the cars that we talk about on this show will be ending their auctions today. First, the first thing we do is we talk about our predictions from yesterday, because we don't just throw predictions out there and say, hey, well, maybe we're right, maybe we're wrong. Nope, we go back and we humiliate ourselves with how wrong we usually are, because we don't do any research. We don't know anything about cars.
Never. Would be fun. Would be the spirit.
Let me just tell you, don't listen to us. All right, so let's talk about yesterday's cars. There were some pretty darn cool cars yesterday. Starting with that. Yeah, go ahead.
JP, if I apply critical thinking and forensic accounting to yesterday's results, one could deduct without having to be
you practice that line all night.
Scientist. Yeah. You got the domestic cars right yesterday, and I got the import cars right. That's pretty funny. All right, what was our star car? The SVO, the 1985 Ford Mustang SVO. I would even say that on our thumb for our advertisement, you said that BAT got it wrong, and you were right, man. This was a rare build with the competition preparation package, one of like 23 that had that option, so that basically somebody could take their SVO and do some club sport racing, regionally across the country. That makes this a very rare SVO indeed, and you would think somebody would pay a premium for it, considering it only had 30,000 original miles or something. So I guessed 22, you guessed 20. We criticized both Bring a Trailer and the seller of this car, the consignor of this car, for not doing a better job of bringing this vehicle to market, considering how special and rare it is. And the BAT community agreed with us. This car sold for just $15,000. So you won that one, but neither one of us was really very close to it. This car did not make the mark. I really believe that's a $25,000 or more car.
I am disappointed for the seller, just because I kind of feel like you know how there are those scams where people get on the phone and they call elderly people and they're like, hey, I've got your grandson in jail here. We need money to get him out, or your Social Security needs all your money or something. Give us your Social Security number. All these kind of phone scams. I feel like that's what happened here. Like this old guy. Who clearly technology is beyond him, because the photos are terrible. His thumb is in half the shots. BAT let these photos on. They didn't go to him and say, hey man, you should really get someone that knows what they're doing. Whoever the heck was taking care of this ad didn't know anything about this competition series or whatever. And so this poor old guy got scammed. He got robbed. And this is, man, do your research ahead of time before you post. It's funny us saying, do your research when we do none. But if you're going to sell your car on one of these platforms, you got to know what you have, and you've got to be able to convince your, I don't know, what do you call it? The underwriter or the people at the auction site, what it is that you're selling. Because this, I truly believe you're right, Deeb. This car is probably $20,000-$50,000. This thing's got to be worth way more than $15,000. And I wish he just had a reserve. I wish that it just didn't make reserves so this guy could get another shot. Now he's out of a car.
Yeah, we bought Gary Ackerman a car with I can't remember, but I want to say it was like 8,000 miles. It was black with gray cloth, but it wasn't the competition car. And that car was, I think it's fair to say, it was north of $20,000 because of the mileage and the condition. And this one is also mileage sensitive. This is a low mile car with a really special option that sets it off. And so just based on some results that I've seen since we got Gary's car, I would think that this car would be worth more than his. And it brought only a fraction of his. So that's terrible.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that I wasn't the one that got to take advantage of the old guy. Yeah. Should have bought it, because then we could resell it and do it the way it should have been done. Man, I just wish someone would have gotten on the, I don't know, in the comments maybe, and just told the guy, hey, this is what is wrong with everybody. This is
pull the listing.
Yeah, this is not right. All right,
but you don't realize that until the close, right? If two guys fought over this, he would have been fine, but that's not what happened. And so he got taken advantage of because somebody else didn't challenge the guy who bought this car. So anyways, all right, JP, let's jump over to P-Car Market. And, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess we're going to kind of bash the platform. What we were doing was, it's a 1979 Porsche 930 in that beautiful what is it? That dark gray metallic or the black metallic. It's really stunning in that colorway. Tan seats, but a black dash. This car really set off. It's got like 45,000 original miles. And I kind of picked it because the day before on Wednesday, we watched a 79 930 in just guards red, but with like 35,000 original miles in excellent condition with excellent photos, bring a whopping $162,000. So I thought it'd be interesting to see what P-Car Market could do with a very similar car. Now, again, they're not apples to apples, but they're pretty close. You and I were very strong thinking that P-Car could bring a lot of money. So I said 130, and you took the over at 135. Our car here sold for just $100,000 on P-Car Market. So clearly the consignor was comfortable with the reserve at that number because that's where it went. But you have to wonder if you and I were right. If this car were on BAT, would it have been worth more money? Because based on comparing it to the result from the day before, I think that this 79 930 is worth more than $100,000.
I agree. This seller left at least $30,000 on the table, if not more, because right. 10,000 more miles than the other one. Who cares? I mean, this thing is a better color. Man, the other one I thought was high, 160 even. I thought was okay. Something's bonkers there, but this one being one at 100, that's a $60,000 delta. You're telling me that doesn't have something to do with the platform? Right. I'll tell you that you aren't paying attention. That something, right. Something's fishy. If you think this wasn't a fault of the platform, then you are that platform. It's funny. Those guys, their interns keep making comments on our Instagram page, on our YouTube page. So, I think one of the sales guys' kids got on there. You're just jealous of P-Car. I'm like, and I looked at his profile, and the kid's like 12. It's like, okay, now they're sending their kids over here to bash us. I'm jealous that I don't have a platform that sells the same car for $60,000 less than another platform, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
This is brutal. This is really brutal. I'm shocked that the reserve was set that low too, honestly. I mean, now that these cars really seem to be taking off, I don't know. I think they're going to be good for more.
Well, we'll see. I still think it's going to bring more. It's still a six-figure result for a 79 930 when they weren't bringing those for the last, let's say, 4 years or maybe 3 years. I don't know. So I think we're still going to see more come to market. We're going to try and bring one to market. So, it's fair game, man. We'll see what happens. But I'm glad we juxtaposed those two. This is very interesting to compare and contrast those two results. And I think we suspected correct that P-Car would struggle to find the kind of money that BAT does. Even if the BAT result is inflated, like say the real value should have been 140, 145, this car still should have been 120, 125, 130, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. I mean, and you're absolutely right. We are helping a friend represent one, and we are sitting there making these decisions. This is what you do, man. You're sitting there going, okay, I've got a car. I'm going to sell it on one of these platforms. Which one makes the most sense? BAT represents kind of a pain in the butt. It takes a little while to get through their listing process and to finally get the ad up and do the ad correctly. So you got to wait, but you get more money. P-Car Market will get your car on yesterday. I mean, they're just like, they're in your face, like, let's get it listed. Let's go. And you're like, okay.
I have the perfect analogy for this. It's the Three Little Pigs, man. You go to BAT, you're building the house out of bricks. It might take longer, but it'll be worth it in the end. So
good point. Good way to put it.
All right.
What else did we talk about yesterday? We got to move along in yesterday's cars and get to today's cars. Come on.
Your second win of the day was a 2004 Chevrolet SSR on Hemmings. I had no idea you were such an expert on these things.
I am bullish on the SSRs, apparently. Look at me, man. I know.
JP, this 19,000 mile hunk of junk is built on the Trailblazer platform. I don't know. I mean, it looks like a concept car. I'll commend them for offering something so wild to the public, but I just don't see the point of a retractable hardtop convertible pickup truck that it can't tow anything. I don't know. It's just a weird vehicle. I said 22. You said 23. The car failed to sell at 22,750, but then sold minutes later post-auction at 23,888. So it had come really close to its reserve, but just missed. And then they took an offer 10, 15 minutes later, and then the car sold. So Anyway, you won on both sides of the equation. You were right at what it was bid to, and you were right at what it sold for. So that was your second win of the day. Anyway, file that under who cares.
Make sure you tune in next week when we start profiling cars on boomercars.com, because that's where stuff like this this has God, making me gag. All right, what else we got?
All right, JP, Cars and Bids had that 2006 Mercedes-Benz SLK 350 with a 6-speed manual, a car similar to your buddy Jeff Weibel's car, right, up there in the Pacific Northwest. Didn't he have one like that?
He did.
So anyway, this was a neat little car, and I remember you saying he didn't sell it for a lot of money, but let's say Doug DeMiro did well with this. I went $9,000 and you took the under at $8,000, and this car brought a whopping $13,000, effectively doubling at the close of auction, which is not something we see very often on Cars and Bids.
That is crazy strong for one of these, and good job to the seller. That is not expected on that platform. But as weird a car as this is, that maybe Cars and Bids is just the right place, because we have said that it's like that under $20,000. That's money that sometimes people have a little bit. This era of car, this mid-aughts car, just isn't kitschy yet. So it's like you're really only buying this for the performance. And I wonder if somebody watched Bid Nerds and said, "Hey, I'm going to make a track car out of it," because it would make a much more interesting car than a Miata or something if you.
Yeah, it'll be a little nose heavy, but bump up the rate on the springs. It'll be fun. All right. Last car of the day, JP, was the 1977 Saab 99 EMS. This is a normally aspirated 2-door notchback with a manual. Just a cool little, period correct Saab that's got a repaint, and they've got their own little cult following. I just think it's cool looking. And like I said, I'd love to drive it for a few hours, but I'd also like to give it back. So I went $12,000. You were a little more conservative on it. You said $11,000, and the car sold for $12,990. So I got 3 wins to your 2, and that was yesterday.
That car looks like one of those wooden shoes from the same region.
Oh, yes, exactly.
This does not look like it's born from jets. Looks like it's born from clogs. I love old Saabs, but for some reason this one's not doing it for me. I don't know what it is.
I don't know as long as it comes with a bodacious blonde with 2 pints of beer and some lederhosen.
All right, now we're talking. All right, now that's sounds like that's, if Saab were still around, that would have to be their new ad campaign. All right, guys. Well, that was yesterday's cars. We just checked ourselves because we wrecked ourselves. I got to stop saying that. We are just not good at predictions, apparently.
We're not rad for sale.
We are not rad for sale at all, or rad. We're just not rad. Full stop. So let's get to today's cars. We're gonna make some predictions on some really cool cars today.
Porsche heavy.
Yeah, very Porsche heavy, which tends to be our jam. This first car is a car that just recently, not this exact one, but one just like it, an actual Le Mans car I climbed into. I got the opportunity to climb into it and realized that I'm too old and unlimber, and I literally got stuck in the car. It took me about 20 minutes to get out of it.
Whose car was it?
That was the Le Mans car that you guys tried to sell over there at the other auction site that's no longer with us. The Le Mans 924 GT, Carrera GT.
Yeah. But whose was it? Whose car was it?
That was the one that you guys tried to sell. Remember, I'm the one that found that car. You don't remember? You don't know what I'm talking about? The blue and gray one? The 1982 Le Mans Carrera GT that you guys tried to sell on Stratus.
Oh, right. It was a silver car. Got it.
And it was silver and blue stripes or whatever.
Yeah, that was the real car.
That was the actual car.
That was the actual car. That's right. I forgot you found that car. Oh my goodness.
Hello.
I'm gonna go back. I know that was like over a year ago now. It's so crazy. It's
the
so wild.
The owner of that auction site didn't even. He was like, whatever.
Whatever.
This car is much prettier than that one. The one I was stuck in, the doors wouldn't open because it had a full roll cage, and well, it just wasn't pretty because it was raced. This one looks pretty. Tell us about this car.
This is amazing. All right, so JP, what we're looking at is a 1981 Porsche 924 Carrera GTS, but it's not just a GTS. This is a ClubSport. Essentially, this is a homologation special that Porsche built for the road so that they could race this platform in sports car racing around the world, including the car that you sat in, the 924 Carrera GTR that actually raced at Le Mans with an American team. And by the way, was leading its category until it failed in like the 18th hour, which is a heartbreaking story. That actual car was going to win that event by like several laps. It was crushing. This car, though, is almost brand new. It has showing just 800 kilometers, which is just under 500 miles, is offered to us actually by the folks at Road Scholars in Durham, North Carolina. In case you are scoring this at home, that is the same family that was going to host Luftgekühlt last year down there in Durham, North Carolina, before the pandemic hit, and canceled all of our plans to drive across the country and go visit them. Several years ago, JP, I was in North Carolina, and Esther and I drove from Wilmington to Durham to meet the folks at Road Scholars, and I am happy to report they could not be nicer. Beautiful facility, wonderful, warm people, incredible client list with amazing Porsches both in the showroom and in the shop. They literally have over a year and a half, 2-year waiting list to get a restoration done because they are so reputable and they do such incredible work. They have sourced for us a 924 GTS, which is one of 59 GTS models made for the world, but it's rarer than that because it's actually just one of 15 of those 59 that were equipped with the ClubSport package, which means you've got aluminum panels like the hood, I think. You've got a full roll cage. You've got Lexan or plastic windows and these full racing seats. This is an incredible car, and somehow this one was never used. Again, showing just 500 miles. Those fixed back seats come straight out of the 935 racing car. The 2.1-liter inline-4 is both turbocharged and intercooled, and in this example makes a whopping, let me read it to you. Where did I lost my place, JP? Take it away. Jump in. I lost you. Go ahead. You there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, right
Okay.
when I tried to hand it over to you, but I lost my place with my power reports. I believe these cars make like 300 horsepower, 350, something like that. I can't find it in my notes, but it's just incredibly rare and in absolutely spectacular condition. This one is likely to break the bank because it's the old adage, JP, where do you find another one? These cars were never bought in the United States. So this thing would have to be in on some sort of like either show and display or the 25-year roll.
Yeah, but, looking at this thing just makes me really
amazing, huh?
Yeah, it is, and it makes me feel like I feel like I missed out on Bitcoin or something like that at 30 cents a coin. When we look at this, I feel like, and I'm not talking about this car, I'm talking about that Mustang. I go back to that SVO that we talked about yesterday. It's from kind of the same era, and it's a ClubSport, and it's like I'm not going to be able to afford this like gajillion-dollar car, but I could have bought that Mustang. We could be driving it home right now. I'm really upset. Thanks a lot. Thanks for reminding me how poor a decision maker I am. This 924 is unbelievable, and it really is a car that shaped the 80s. With the fender flares on this thing, that how many 944s hit the road? 944s are just undervalued to this day, and there are so many more of them than 911s, and so many people have them, and they were just everywhere. And I feel like the 944 never would have happened if it weren't for this car and them accidentally realizing how good this platform looks with the box fenders. They're like, oh, well, let's tack some fenders on it. And like, oh, wait, why don't we just make a production car that looks like that and sell gajillions of them? And they did.
And how well they did. Basically what they did, JP, they had the motor up front and they put the gearbox behind the driver, and they call them transaxle cars. Well, all these cars are transaxle cars. Yeah. And they offer basically 50-50 weight distribution. So putting that GetTrag 5-speed behind the driver made the cars easy to drive at the limit, kind to the tires, and then competitive in every category that they ever competed at. Even the amateurs could buy one of these cars and go and have a real chance to win the race.
Yep. How much is this going to go for? Where are these at these days?
All right, JP. So this car, again, is brand new, and I say you struggle to find another one. It's sitting at $240,000, now $250,000 since we started the show. on 23 bids. Again, offered by Road Scholars, which is I think that means something. They're really reputable guys. I think this car is going to go for $300,000.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, they are the guys. Man, I'm having audio issues. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say, what was your number? What?
$300,000, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was blue sky above it. So
yeah, I'll go 324. As in 924, 324. It really is. I mean, with this few miles, there are no comps. This is delivery mile ClubSport. That's what the hell? How is it possible that this car didn't get driven? And I think that's the biggest bummer about this whole situation, that we have a car like this that's been preserved, and it's probably going to stay that way. This car will probably never see a racetrack, and that's just a sad thing.
Yep.
So what else do we got?
All right, JP, let's stay on Bring a Trailer, and let's look at the 2008 Porsche 911 Turbo Coupe. This is a 38,000-mile example offered out of Houston, Texas. It is Arctic silver with my favorite special cocoa leather interior. So this is that dark brown leather, and the full interior is covered in the stuff. But the big thing on this car is that it's a 6-speed manual transmission. So what we're looking at is the last year of the 997.1 turbo Metzger motor with a manual, and I just think this thing is everything. This is awesome. This is one of the great driving cars that have been underappreciated, and we've seen in, I'd say, even just in the time that we started doing the show, I think that 997 era turbos, especially the manuals, are creeping up in value, and this one is probably going to follow that suit, that logic, being low miles, good condition, beautiful interior. It's got sports seats and a fab speed intake, fab speed exhaust. I absolutely want this car. I would totally rock this thing if I was in a position to buy one. I would jump on this car. I love everything about it. Bose sound system. It just goes on and on. Everything on this car is just, the only thing I like are the wheels. I would probably keep the wheels, but I'd repaint them in like a fat black, and that's it. I just rock it. This thing's awesome. 6-piston front brake calipers on this car. What else? I don't know. The technical specification of this thing is amazing, and it's less money than a GT3 and arguably just as fast. So, what more could you possibly want from your bargain rocket ship?
Is it less than a GT3 of the same era? At this point, this will be one of those ads that will tell us, because these cars have been of value for a long time. But I agree with you; they are rocket shooting up. That was not I'm not swearing. That was just a slip. I can't speak this morning. Yeah,
Guys,
rocket shipping. Straight into the stratosphere. This car is unbelievably beautiful and so much fun to drive. I'm with you, Deeb. I want this car. I'm bummed that I wasn't able to get one about a year ago when I was looking for one, because they had already started to creep up out of my price range. This is really what I was looking for when I bought my current 997, and I missed a couple opportunities to get them when they were still not crazy priced. So where will this one land? What do you think?
All right, so it's JP. It's got an hour and 10 minutes to go. It's got 24 bids, which is a lot, and it's at $71,000. I don't think this one's going to break $100,000, but it's going to get close. So I'm going to say $94,000.
That is a really good bid. I'm with you. We haven't seen one of these break that 6-figure mark yet in a long time. I mean, maybe if one had like literally delivery miles on it, it would do that. But I don't think we're quite there yet. Yeah. What'd you say, 94?
Yeah.
Is that a cop car in the background that this guy's shooting his video? I'm going to say 95. I'm going to go just the over, because I think it's going to be right in there. I think it could potentially break 100. I'm not necessarily predicting that it will, but things are so wacky right now, and this car is kind of unobtainium. There just aren't very many manuals around, and the fact that it's a coupe and all the right things, like the color combination, everything's great. These are not my favorite wheels either, but I still really like the look of this car, and the wheels are easy to change. So, that's my prediction.
I would source GT3 wheels would be really cool. 9971 GT3 wheels with the 5 lugs would look gorgeous on that car. I think that'd be awesome.
991 GT3?
Nope, 997.1 GT3 wheels.
997.1 GT3 wheels. Okay. Yeah, those would probably... Aren't those 18s, though? I think you'd want a 19 on this car. Because the 997.2 GT3 had kind of I think
lock.
those were
Yes.
All of them were center locks on the. Okay,
all of them.
Yeah. I know the 991s were all center lock. I thought some of the 997.2s weren't, but I could be wrong.
7.2s were all center lock. I am sure of that.
So
We're nerding out.
We are definitely nerding out here, but yeah, you can definitely get into the wheels on that one. All right.
Yeah, I love talking wheels.
Okay, well, let's see here. Yeah, there's a bunch of different wheels that would look better than these, but hey,
For sure.
you can't go wrong with
Agreed.
these wheels. All right, good luck to the seller on this one. Let's see if that sets some records. Let's move over to one of the other auction sites. We're going to go back over to our good friends at P-Car Market, see what they're going to
Our good friends at P-Car Market have brought us another car to examine. This is an 86 911 Carrera Cabriolet with just 40,000 miles in the unusual shade of white gold metallic. But it's got like this kind of dark brown interior. It's like a bitter chocolate interior. They call it Cadbury brown upholstered cabin, as it's described in the listing. What's interesting about this car, JP, is that it is a 3.2, but it does have the 915 gearbox. We don't really see cabriolets from this era very often, and they are wonderful cars to drive. This one looks to be really nice, and if that is the original mileage, this is a exemplary low mileage example that probably hasn't been beat up or abused. As long as all the maintenance is up to date, this is a car that should just be turnkey, go out and enjoy and have fun and enjoy the summer. That being said, this guy went and put it on P-Car Market, and I couldn't tell you what this car is worth because it's hard to gauge what the audience of P-Car Market, how they will receive listings. And this is not a common listing. It's not a Guards Red Coupe. It's a white gold cab with low miles. It should be worth a ton of money, but I don't know that it's going to find that audience or that money here on P-Car Market right now. So I hand it over to you, scratching my head going, man, this one's tough to read. I really had a hard time coming up with the value for this car.
Yeah, this guy is a risk taker putting this car here. You're absolutely right. I've said it over and over and over again. I love cabs, and this seems to be a really nice one. I'm not a fan of this color. I think this is probably the most unappealing Porsche color of all time. It's just, I don't know why they ever. This is the old man's 911. When this car was brand new, some old guy went in there and bought this car because he didn't want to be flashy. And it really is a bummer. And I think I've said on other episodes that there's almost no color that Porsche's ever made that I'd be like, yeah, I'm not interested in the car. And this one is right there with it. I'd still rock this car and love it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's definitely, it would just bug the crap out of me, this color. It's so close because it's kind of a close to a silver, but it's not. That champagne thing, it's no bueno, right? And this one's got sports seats, and it's just got a lot to love. The 3.2, the H4s, great car all around. But people are going to poo-poo it because it's convertible, and they're going to say all the stupid things that they say about convertibles. But whatever, someone's going to get a great car and probably a great value if this thing meets reserve. And that's the thing about P-Car is they let really high reserves happen, and this car is going to go to the deal tank, and I think it's going to just languish there. Nobody in P-Car market wants this thing.
Interesting.
I just
so
hope,
JP,
right?
I agree. I don't mind the color. I don't like it combined with the brown interior, brown top. Like this light gold shade. I had a Mercedes 190E 2.3 16 valve in smoke silver, which is a similar color, but it had black interior, and that car looked great. And I think if this car had black interior, it would look good. I don't mind the chocolate, but on a different shade, like that silver car we just looked at. So I agree with you that the color is polarizing and might hold it back because this low-mile 3.2 cab should be worth a ton of money. That being said, it has crept up overnight. It was at $25,000 last night, JP, on 3 bids. And again, now on the day of the close, even while we're doing the show, this thing is creeping up. So now it's at $41,000 on 5 bids. Some of those bids have come on since we started doing the show. Which is really interesting to see how it's about to close. But it's still got 2 hours and 45 minutes left. It's offered out of Maricopa County, Arizona. You ever heard of that one?
I have, yeah. And what was the miles on this thing? It's really low, right?
40,172 miles, yeah.
So where's it going to land? What do you think?
So JP, last night I put 47 because it was at 25 grand. But now that it's at 40, I am going to be comfortable and go back to what I think this car should be worth. When I say $53,000 and send to you there at 53 grand.
I'm going to take your bid, say 47. I think you're right. It's worth that. But we just have not seen cabs bring big money. This one having low miles is the differentiating factor. If this were a normal mile car, if this was like 100,000 miles or 80,000 miles or whatever, I don't think it would break 30 on this platform. And clearly this one's already over 40. So I think it's all because of those low miles. God, these are terrible pictures. Dang T-car market for letting this ad go through. I mean, I've sold cars with these guys and they gave me a hard time about photos. And it's like, what? Are you kidding? And it's like
they probably
you guys let through.
They gave you a hard time because they didn't recognize good photos. They're like, what's wrong with this guy's photos? I don't know. Talk to him.
It's like oh man. I mean, this should not been. Guys, what are you doing? Stop letting this drivel through. Ugh, man, pisses me off. All right. Yeah. Did I give a number? Yeah, I gave your number. You gave your number, and I stole your number that you let go. So that'll be interesting to see.
That's all right.
All right. Yeah, sorry. Are we going to go over to Hemmings and see this kind of cool thing? Look at that thing.
No, let's jump over to.
Too late. It's already there. It's up.
All
we saw it. We there it is.
All right. We're having dessert before the end of the meal. All right, JP. Hemmings has found for us a all original 50,000 mile Survivor, as they describe it, a 1970 Datsun 240Z. Now, for it to be a Survivor, it means that none of this car was ever changed or modified. So this is the original paint, the original motor. It might even have tires that are out of date. I'm not really sure. I didn't do the whole ad because it's just kind of verbose. We have seen spectacular condition original 240Zs go for ridiculous money, namely the Franklin Mint car that sold for 300 grand on Bring a Trailer a couple of years ago. So when I earmarked this car a couple days back, my big thing was I was wondering if this would be a six-figure 240Z. And with 4 hours to go, our car is still sitting at $67,000, which is where it has been for a few days. So I'm really not feeling confident that this car is actually going to make it to 70 grand. But I am confident that even if it's sold at this price at $67,000, this is one of the stronger, one of the most valuable 240Zs in existence in our country. And it's just really neat, JP, when you go and you look at this car and you see all the period correct details that still exist on this car, even the little mud flaps that are on the side profile. It's just really, really neat to see these cars. And I'm happy that they're bringing good money. Some of the prices are ridiculous that don't make sense because this car was so mass produced. I love this vintage cars appreciated, and that there's this huge following in the 240Z, even though it's not my favorite vintage car. I'm happy with it for Datsun and Nissan. So anyway, there you go, JP. What do you think of this thing? Do you like them as much as I do, or one of those hoops?
Yeah, man, I love this car. This thing is so cool. I honestly, I kind of like this car better than that gold 911 cab. And I'm a convertible guy. Obviously, big fan of Porsches and 911s, all that stuff. But this car is just so much more interesting to me for some reason. That was an interesting little camera move there. Somebody was walking around outside of the car and then handed it to a dude in the car. But now we're too close to the windshield and we're going to drive the car around in traffic. Look, guys, if you're going to do a driving video, go somewhere where there's not traffic. I don't want to see the Shell station down the street and the bus stop sign and the crappy apartment building. I want to see what it's like to drive this car, to drive it, not be in it and drive around the normal neighborhood. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible video, and it's making me like the car less. As much as I wanted this car about 2 minutes ago, now I kind of don't want it at all because this is just stupid. What are you doing? Find a twisty road out in the middle of nowhere somewhere and, put the guy with the camera in the back seat if you don't have a wide angle lens. And this... God, we can't see how the guy's shifting. We can't. I hate this thing. All right, I don't care now. I love this car now. I'm just over it. See, this is what happens if you have bad photos and bad video. You go from people wanting your car to you're actually doing damage. You're not enhancing your ad here by making someone want this car more. You're making it worse. You're taking someone that was on the bubble and making them go, nah, not interested.
No.
Not like I was going to buy
it's so true, JP. As you're talking about this, I remember the polarity when you and I looked at that gold Alpha GTV6, where the guy drove it up like in the mountain highways, and he was just going through these beautiful curves, and he had the camera on the driver's side window over his shoulder, and you could see his hands on the wheel and look out the window up at that, which was like a Angel's Crest type road, I think in Arizona or something, and it made you want to drive that car, be in the car with him. And this, how it's basically doing the opposite, which is just, it's poorly executed. That's bad.
It's making me nervous. I'm just waiting for some minivan to pull out in front of us because just terrible. Where's this car going to land? Too bad.
So JP, it's got 14 bids, $67,000, which is still that's a grip of money. But it's got 4 hours to go. Hemmings has a huge audience, and these cars have become highly collectible. I still think this car is going to have a late flurry. So the question is, so $3,000 away from 70, it's $13,000 away from 80. I still think this car is going to bring, I'm going to say $85,000.
Wow. All right, I'll go 75. I don't think it finds it. But, you're right. Hemmings does have a big audience, and this is definitely an old guy's car, driven by an old guy, clearly. It shouldn't be an old guy's car. This is definitely something that someone young should get and drive the heck out of. And
listen,
love it.
It's 50,000 miles. It's still original. It's great. But if you look really close at the detail, it looks like it has 50,000 miles worth of driving on it. It's not a preserved or hermetically sealed 50,000 miles. It's a regular 50,000 miles. And then it was put along and it's ready for the next custodian to take care of it. If it was one of those cars with 50,000 miles, I'd say it's a 90 to 100 grand car. But anyway, somewhere one of the two is going to be right, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, good luck to the consignor.
That was a guess on my part. All right, what else we got? What's the last car of the week?
Last car of the week is on Doug DeMero's site. It's a car I actually would want to own. This is a 2015 Porsche Cayman GTS with a 6-speed manual. This is an 18,000-mile example out of Williamsburg, Virginia. And what's interesting to note is when you get the GTS, you get sport exhaust, you get PASM, and what is it? What's the other one I'm thinking of?
Do you get Sport
JP?
Plus on with a GTS?
Sport Chrono. Yeah, you get Sport Chrono. And what's cool about this is this was one of the first production cars when you got Sport Chrono, you got the rev matching technology. So in other words, if you're in fourth gear and you put the clutch in and you throw the shifter towards third gear, it automatically blips the throttle for you. And I love that feature, and this car has it. This car is also equipped with the adaptive sports seats. So between the limited slip differential, the sport exhaust, the manual transmission with the rev matching, and the sports seats, I mean, this is a poor man's, GT4, and this is a fantastic car. It's a normally aspirated 3.4-liter flat six. It's got plenty of power and incredible handling, and then all the little gizmos to make this a wonderful driver's car. Now, you might not like the full beige interior, but in this instance, I'd probably drive this car for a little while before I flipped it. I like this thing. So I know it's not my favorite colorway, but all the pieces in there to make this a real driver's car. Now, the consignor is selling it for his late father-in-law or something like that. So he does a driving video where he monologues. Clearly, it's not his car because he keeps referring to it as a Porsche.
Oh, no.
Repeatedly.
Brutal.
This Porsche, it's a great Porsche. And I'm like, oh, dude, you got to shut up, man. It's really bad.
Oh,
but other than that, it's a great car. Anyway, and it's sitting at JP. 30 minutes to go. It's at 60 grand already on 17 bids. So clearly Doug DeMero's site is going to bring the proper amount of money for this car. So what do you think of it?
That was it, Sport Plus, Sport Chrono, the blip shift thing just ticks me off to no end. I think it should have a big light on the back that lets everyone know that it's Sport Plus that's doing that. It's not the driver. It's cheating, and honestly, I don't like it. I think it annoys. I remember the first time driving one that had that. It was on a 911. I didn't know that existed. I was like, whoa, what just happened? What was that? I didn't do that. That was like, heel towing is fun. Why in the hell would you want the machine to do that for you? That just seems so ridiculous. I suppose that's a great track feature, to rev match. That's cool. But no, man, that's lame. That's like a fake cell phone antenna like we used to do back in the 80s when we were trying to shove. Look at me. I'm a race car driver. I blip shift. The computer's doing it.
That's a terrible analogy because in this
it's exactly the same thing.
This technology is actually doing something. Whereas in your analogy, that is just vanity.
Yeah, it's doing something. It's a vanity function. There's who cares? Just learn to do it yourself. Why do you need the machine to do that? All it is just screaming at everybody, look at me, race car driver. I've got an R on my hat or something like that. You are lame if you need the blip shift thing.
Do I have Rochelle's phone number? You get your head examined. She needs to make you a
would
hospital.
So agree with me. She would be like making fun of anyone that needs a computer to blip shift. Oh my
God. It's an incredible feature. I love it.
It is good on the flappy paddles, which again is for people who are lame. Flappy paddles suck. So there it is. There it is. Do you want the car to drive you around the track? Do you want to just get in the car and push a button and sit back?
Automatic.
I mean, just get yourself a Tesla.
Sit there. Just steer.
Don't even steer. Just have the computer. It can do it better. The computer can get around the track faster than you can. Why should you do it?
Oh, that's so
I don't
funny.
know why even have a car. In fact, let's just get RC cars and let them go around the track, and we can just watch it. And they can blip shift and make all kinds of neat noises and late brake. And where's this car going to land? This thing, this beige interior is hurting it. I love the exterior, but the interior is that's a deal breaker for me. It's too much beige.
I wrote 64 last night when it was at 59 grand, and I think it's going to achieve that. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. 64 grand because I know you hate it. You'll probably bet the under anyways.
No, I don't like it, but this is a fantastic car. I think it's 70. I think with Sky on top of that, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean these are really popular. They're hard to find. I mean GTSs with a stick, that's unobtainium, and I think someone's going to see it and go, "No, I can live with the beigeness," because a lot of people don't hate the beige like I do or like you do. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, living with it for a little while is one thing. I mean, I had such an awesome 997 that was black and it had all the aero and the chrono and all that stuff. But it had the beige interior, and I just tried to live with it, but I just couldn't deal. It was like, I can't. I'm not happy in here. It just makes me upset. Yeah. So it had to go, even though it was a superior car than the car I replaced it with. It's unbelievable. So anyways, that's it for the week, man. That's all the cars that we're going to nerd out on. Next week, we've got a whole slew of new cars that we'll nerd out about on the Bid Nerds, the most interesting cars of the day on Cars and Bids. Bring a Trailer, P-Car Market, Hemmings, Rad ForSale. I hope we got more cars from Rad ForSale next week. Do they have any cars yet? They seem to be light on the cars.
They're just doing one at a time, and as they keep doing these weird Japanese cars, it's not our jam. So they need more. Like, again, they have their own enthusiast following, but we like European sports cars or things that are like, gaudy rad, not just period correct rad.
Yeah.
So
well, there it is, guys. Stick around for more Bid Nerds next week. Come back Monday through Friday at about the 9 o'clock hour. Make sure you hit the subscribe, like, and notifications button so you know when we go live. What's that?
One tease. Buddha has nominated a car for us next week. So next week we are going to cover a car that Buddha has submitted to the Bid Nerds. It'll be really cool. I don't want to tell you more than that. We'll tune in next week and we'll cover that car for Buddha. It's going to be great.
All right, and hopefully we'll see you guys at Cars und Cafe if you're here in Las Vegas. That's Sunday morning in the Arts District on Imperial and Commerce in front of the Good Wolf LV Lifestyle Co. company. And then, if you're looking for something to binge watch, make sure you watch Porsche Road Trip this weekend, available on Pluto TV. We're going to end the week with a trailer for that show, and we bid you farewell. Have a great weekend, guys. We will see you on Monday. I love driving and BSing about classic Porsches. So how great would it be to take a killer road trip in an old 911 and visit a bunch of my best friends who love the same things? Oh, and while I'm on the trip, I thought I'd make a TV show about it. So let's drive the coolest cars on the best roads with the greatest people in America. I'm John Polnik, and you're coming with me on my Porsche road trip.
I think it's just getting people into cars for the reason we like cars, which is actually like driving the cars.
You're living with a Victoria's Secret model. Ever bang her?
Saving it for the next guy.
I take a microfiber and I just kind of wipe her down. But,
Man, give me a 911 turbo cab. Cause that big wide ass with that top down and that girl hair flying in the wind, you can't beat that.
This is all your fault, John.
I ain't no collector. You drive them things and I might respect ya.